summer. It's 18th of January and it's like 20 degrees today.
It says it's 19.
19 in the car, usual story.
11 in the morning.
It's just so mild, and I think we've got another week of it being mild, and then it's going to probably start snowing again. We had one day of a sprinkle of snow. Just can't believe it. It's like nuts. We're just going out in a very basic cardigan combination. So
I feel hot.
it is hot. It's just crazy. I love it, but I know it's coming, but it's taking its time. So we want to do a video a little bit more about talking about buying property, and because obviously we do get asked a lot of questions, and let's do a video that kind of transparently explains everything to the best of our knowledge. I don't just want it to be another video of me talking for hours, although I do feel I've got lots to say. Maybe I should run a side channel like Emily's Musings, or something like that. But anyway, this is going to be a really useful video, I think, and you have to remember that this is new to us. Although, you know, we've bought 2 properties out here, we are working with a sort of business partner agent. We want to help more people find their dream properties, etc., etc., but we're learning all the time, so we don't have all the answers, and I think that's really important to note. And we don't share opinions. We really only share opinions when we have knowledge. That's really important. You can't guess. So I think this is really important to be. This is a factual video of our knowledge, not of our opinions, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Because I found recently I've had to become a little bit of a keyboard warrior. And I don't want to be a keyboard warrior, but there's so many closed minds out there, and I kind of want to really put the world right, as we all do. Anyway, I'm going to delete my Facebook soon anyway, but I just kind of wanted to, there's a lot of misinformation or misguided information.
We hate that word though.
Oh, we hate the word misinformation. It's a bit woke, but anyway. I just really want to, you know, we're lucky we've got this platform and we've got lovely people like you watching, and everyone turns to Facebook for information, and the problem is you get a lot of opinions on there, and it doesn't necessarily, it could be right, but where do you go, what do you believe? And I don't, that's why it's really important, if you are looking to move here, that you really, yes, you can assess everything you read online. We would really always stress to everyone, please come out and visit for yourself. Please look at all the areas. Please know really go with what feels right in your gut. Don't just listen to, don't just listen to us either. Obviously you gather lots of opinions, but just know that it's not always what you see potentially online. Is fees, really, because it's really important to know, you know, if you are looking for properties, what else am I going to have to just put money aside for? So really transparently, we work with an agent, and if we get the client through this channel, then we get a share of the agent fees, and it helps because we do a lot of email communication. Lise does a lot of driving, showing people around. It probably really only covers the fuel costs, so, but we just, it's fun, and we're enjoying it. And basically, if you are buying a property through us and our agent, and we need the agent because he, obviously, language barrier, we can't negotiate with owners, and we can't speak to notaries and municipalities.
He's been doing this for 15 years.
Yes.
So if there's something that he doesn't know, it's not worth knowing.
Yeah.
So we feel like we have partnered with the correct person to help as many people as possible.
Very trusted in this area, knows lots of contacts, and really just an all-round chap. So we need him to help us and help you get you know, we remember, agents, we're working for you, not the seller. If that makes sense, that's important that you're representing the buyer. And so essentially, as a buyer, very simply, your fees on any property under 25,000 for the 500 euros, okay? It's a flat 500 euros, whether you're buying a property that's 1,000 euros or 25,000 euros. So it doesn't matter to us if you be like, oh, I don't want to tell you my budget because I know what agents are like. They're going to show me properties that are higher to get more commission. It doesn't work that way because it's a flat fee.
And also to add, everything that we are representing for sellers is already priced. So,
yes.
So it's not like we can hike the price up, because somebody actually said that to us.
Yeah. Or if I tell you my budget,
if I tell
you'll
you
put
you're
the
going to
price
hike it
up.
up, and we're like, well, no, the prices are already stated, so we can't change anything.
Yes.
These are prices set by sellers.
Yes.
And our commission is exactly the same. So it makes absolutely no ends to us, no odds to us, sorry, on what you guys buy. We want to help you find the right place.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's all we want to do.
So really briefly, it's a £500 flat fee for any properties under 25,000 euros, and above that it's 2% of the house value. Okay, so, and really there's a lot of hard work running around in that, but that's what the fees are. And trust me, our guy, he does everything in these fees. He helps you set up bank accounts. He helps you with the residency if you need. He really it's
changes everything into your name.
Changes everything into your name.
Your water, your electric, all of that kind of stuff.
So much is included in that service.
It's such a good service.
In a country where you can't really get this, without a translator, without, you can't do these things by yourself. So very, very well valued. So that covers off the agency fees. The other sort of fees I'm going to give ballparks because it does depend, but you need to factor in municipality fee costs, notary charges, translation of documents. So when you're buying a property, you're probably looking at about 1,200 euros maximum.
I would say if you're looking at something 25,000 under, it's about that.
So 1,200 euros for your legal fees, etc., in buying a property. Then you might need to set up a company to purchase this property, and that can be around 500 euros. So then that depends again if you need to buy a company that's over 5 years to buy land, all of this stuff. There's lots of sort of nuances to it,
which we can explain.
And we can, but feel free to ask any questions. So really, on buying a property, you want to be adding around 1,200 for the fees, 500 for the agency fees, 500 for setting up a company. And then of course our guy can help you with residency, visas, all of that, and that's separate fees that we've talked about in other videos. So I hope that gives you an idea of planning, regardless of property price, sort of the extra add-ons that are needed and the reasons why that cost.
Think about 2,500 euros.
Yeah.
And you might be pleasantly surprised, it might be less.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we're keeping you at the top end. So at least you've got it in the bank planned. Now we're going to talk about price of properties. Now again, going back to my first comment, this is about what we know, not what we believe. So we know about our area, which is southeast of Veliko Tarnovo, a little bit southwest, moving into the Elena region, which is beautiful, by the way, moving further into the Gabrovo region. So these areas are where you're looking at more hills, forests,
rivers,
smaller properties. If you're looking for larger properties, maybe getting into land, grazing animals, that kind of thing, you probably need to go more north of Veliko Tarnovo, even further up to the Romanian border, because that's more, if you like, large-scale farming. Of course, in this area you can still grow crops and you can still have animals. There's still that facility, but you'll find that the properties are smaller. But you're then sacrificing on maybe views, scenery, being able to walk into a river, forest, that kind of thing. So really got to sum up what you want out of your landscape and local scenery. So if anybody has downloaded our sort of rural property guide that we put together, it's a link in the description. We keep going on about location because no matter where you are, you can always change the house, always. it's really got to be about location, and that's why the whole leads off to buy a drink. That's why the whole location. You've really got to see it as buying the plot. You know, what have you got around you? What have you got in your space? And the house, we feel, should be secondary. And I know it's really hard to look past that, but try and get your head around that, and really what you want from your location, from your lifestyle, where you want to be close to. That's really, really important to establish. It's so funny how people come out to us saying, "Oh, I want a 2-bed house with this and that and this and that," and there's no conversation until we ask the questions about, well, what do you want from your life around you? So that's, I would say, really, really think deep and hard about that. So, of course, we started this channel talking about how cheap things are out here. And yes, we bought our first property for €5,000, and that was coming on to 3-4 years ago now. So yes, prices have changed. You're not going to find that in this area anymore. Okay, end of.
I'm back.
He's back with his vitamin drinks.
Vitamins.
He's now going for the coffee flavoured poison.
Yeah, that's good.
And please remember, when we first bought this house, we had to wee and poo in a bucket for about a month. Longer than that, before we got lead into a temporary bathroom situation. We had, you know, I know you may have seen or may not have seen, but we've got a roof that, yeah, it's good. It's going to probably last us another 10 years, but we have to consistently change tiles. Tiles crack, tiles slip, tiles break, we get leaks. So it's constant maintenance. But that's what we knew when we bought a £5,000 property. That's the compromise. We didn't have the money to go higher, and we know we've got a long-term project on our hands. You know, this is going to take us potentially another 5 years to get to livable standard, and we can only afford to do that bit by bit.
I don't know if you've said that now that same £5,000 property is probably 15 grand.
15 to 20,000 for a renovation project in our area. Now, yes, we can talk about other areas, but I just want to be really clear on that. So, a lot of people come to us and say, we've got this budget, but we want to be able to live in it whilst we're modernising it, and we want it to have a good roof. Okay, so if you want a good roof and you want a bathroom and a kitchen to be able to live in it from day one, you are not going to find that at the budgets you are potentially asking for, without compromising seriously on maybe location and things like that. Of course, you're going to find the odd gem. There are people that just want to shift something, and they're willing to drop their price no matter what they've spent on it to get rid of it. So of course you're going to find some cheap properties, and again, they're further north of the Veliko Tarnovo region, up towards the Romanian border. That we found. This is knowledge based, remember. So really think about your willingness. Not only that I've mentioned where you want to be, location, your lifestyle, but also willingness. How prepared am I going to be to rough it, or how livable do I really need it to be? And then we can be really, really realistic with you about where your money can go and what to expect for that. Please understand that nobody is going to have put in a bathroom and a kitchen and a new roof and sell their property for under 20,000, right? Because that roof probably cost
more than that.
Yeah, but what?
Our neighbour just did their barn roof, which is pretty big, but they spent 20 grand on it.
Yeah.
On a barn roof.
Yeah.
And no one has it added 20 grand to the property? Maybe, but I don't think people looking to buy a property like that are looking for that budget.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird.
If you've got a small budget, like us originally, and you're not going to get a place with a new roof and a bathroom and a kitchen. However, you may find people that are open to the pay monthlies, and we know that there are companies out there that do it. We don't know about it, we're kind of not interested in it. Maybe some sellers might be open to being reasonable with long-term payment plans, but you want to have a good enough deposit to grab their attention with it. Another thing to add whilst we're at the DIY store is cost of materials have gone up. like a lot since we moved here, and I've heard and read from other people that were doing up properties 10 years ago. I mean, it's just a lot, you know, as we know from everywhere in the world. And so you've got to factor that in when people have done work to their property recently. It's cost them. So factor that in, you know, if you're looking at a property that's had some renovation. And labour, of course, as well. And talking of toilets, which is always lovely, please don't expect, even if you've got a bathroom or some sort of toilet, you're not going to have a decent septic system in a rural property if you're looking at a property under 10 grand. No one is going to have invested in between 2,000 and 5,000 euros that the companies charge to do a proper septic system. Nobody's going to have put that in and then go, yeah, you can have my house for 10 grand. Be realistic about your expectations, because really sewage, waste, you know, that's a big part of the cost, as well as the roofs, which we talk about a lot anyway.
Another thing to add about the pay monthly things is some people are sort of clued up on it. Now, you've got to think, if you're buying a property over, I don't know, 3 years, in 3 years, that property might be worth twice as much. It could be worth 10 times as much. So people might not actually allow you to even enter the property until it's fully paid. People also might want to get out of that contract because the house is now worth more. So there's a lot to think about, and we've had it from both buyer and seller sides, and it's kind of something that we just want to avoid. It sounds like it's going to get real messy. Yeah,
some sellers have been put off by it because people have gone in there and started renovating or making changes, and actually the property's ended up lowering the value because they might have made damage. So you've got to think, you've got to try and sometimes put your head in the mind of the seller as well, and think, you know, it's really important.
Well, that incident was somebody who actually left the contract, so they lost their deposit and all that kind of stuff.
But the seller was left with a property that they weren't happy with.
With a ruin, basically, and it halved the value.
Obviously, these are rare situations, but you've got to think, you know, let's be really fair here. So sometimes a seller, may be open to a payment plan, but you may not be able to live in it, or you might just be able to secure it, board it up to keep it safe for a couple of years until you've paid it off. But it's just really down to the person, and there's no harm in asking the question, and there's no harm in chatting through those sort of details.
There's no like defined rules regarding that. It's all down to personal circumstances.
Yes. So going back to price a little bit, we know most people that watch this channel pretty much are looking at the 20k and under budget. So if you want a livable property, we're going to tell you for that you got to go further north of the area, and we can help find it. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. If you want everything, I know it sounds really big-headed that we've got, as in because of the area we're in, and we do showcase that, then it's going to be harder to find a livable property. And sorry, I will let you speak in a minute.
That's all right.
We have friends through this channel that have spent weeks, and I mean weeks to months, researching, travelling around, looking at properties, knowing where they want to be, and they could not find anything livable in our region, which I'm talking about south to southeast of Veliko Tarnovo, for under 50,000. Now maybe they had a particular level of finish that they determined as livable. We lived in our house even though no one else would, for example. So everyone's going to have a different idea of what is livable. So it's really clear to be clear about your expectations. We can be very transparent about what we feel is possible. Okay.
I mean, our idea of livable when we came here was you stay dry when it rains. That's it.
Yeah.
That was it.
But not everyone's as crazy as us. And I get it. Or if you are, great. You know, there's some great projects out here. There's some great properties still to be had, but you've got to compromise somewhere. Another thing that's really important to the Bulgarians and their land is soil. It's so fertile out here, different categories. There's up to 10 categories of the fertility of the soil, and it's not just in agricultural land, it's all, you know, the whole areas, and that really affects as well the property prices. It is based on not just location, not just condition of the property, or proximity to amenities and how close you are to the city. Soil type is a really important one as well. So, and they know that, and the Bulgarians will price their property accordingly based on those factors. So you've got obviously different types of land. You've got regulated and unregulated. You can obviously Google a bit more about the details of this, but in simple terms, regulated land is closer to the urban areas where you're allowed to build properties, and then you move out of the urban areas, and I'm still talking villages here, not necessarily talking cities when I say urban. Even rural villages are still regulated where you can live, and then as you move out of that village, you've got going into unregulated land, which is your agricultural plots, your forestry, whether it's private owned or owned by the municipality, and it's all divided up. So you'll probably find many years ago a lot of that land was divided up and shared amongst the villagers, so it's you get lots of kind of little separate plots. So if you're looking to buy a house with a lot of land, and we are talking to someone recently about this, it's quite unlikely you're going to find that as part of your house plot. Agricultural plots tend to be further out, and a lot of the time separate and maybe smaller because they were shared. Again, more further north you go, the more flatter the land is, the more you're looking at large scale farming, and
maybe even the fertility is greater, which is why the landscape has been kept that way.
Exactly. So you've got to bear in mind that you're not going to find necessarily a house with a lot of land in the middle of nowhere at the price you want it, because you're looking at a house, someone that's changed the use of that previously unregulated plot to a regulated residential space, if that makes sense. So you'll still find that your dwelling is going to have to be closer to the properties in the regulated space. So moving on to a little bit more about the legality of things, as a non-EU citizen, you cannot buy a house with land without opening a company, and you can't buy land without owning a company that's 5 years or more. That's our
when you say land, you mean agricultural?
Agricultural land you're not allowed to buy.
You can buy an apartment.
You can buy an apartment outright
because
in the name.
Because you don't own the physical land that it's on.
Yeah.
But anything with a garden, basically, you will need a company.
Yeah. And so bear in mind, if you've got to open a company to purchase a property, you can open a new company to do that. No problems. Our agent helps you with that. A few €100. I think I mentioned it's probably up to €500.
It's about 500, I think.
Yeah, to open a new company, it's paperwork. You do have to. We've actually got to start doing this because we had to do this for our last property. You still have to submit some form of return each year, showing a zero value if it's not trading. We've really got to do that. We're going to find out about that, and we can share that with you, because again, we're learning all the time. So I'm not going to guess because I don't have the knowledge. And but if you want to buy agricultural land, you're going to have to, and again, our buddy I'm sure can help you with this, source some people that are willing to sell their old companies that are 5 years or more to allow you to purchase that land. Another thing to add is sort of timescales. Things can move quickly out here if it's a really good buy, so if you are interested and you're ready to move forward, get in touch. If you're not ready to move forward and you're planning it for next year or in a few months' time, I really hate to say this, but it's not about wasting our time, because we were more than happy to share properties that are currently available. We can give you information, give you advice, but we can't contact any sellers about negotiations on price, or are they willing to do payment plans if you can't move forward now. Please only contact us if you're not contact us, that's the wrong thing. Please contact us. Happy to share advice, but we are not going to speak to any sellers or waste our agent's time if you're not ready to move forward now. That's clear in a nice, succinct way, rather than me ramble on.
We don't have a crystal ball, so we don't know what's going to be available in the future.
Yeah.
So So it's always good to have people's contacts, what they're looking for, the budget, and we always will have that. And so if something comes up, we can contact that person, and that's great. But as you said, we can't be trying to set up an agreement or something like that for 6 months' time. It just doesn't work like that.
No.
All of the properties that we've helped people sell and purchase recently have been sold within about 2 days.
Yeah, and once it's all agreed,
so
it's
it
quick.
moves so fast.
Yeah.
Which is great. You know, it's awesome that our channel has helped us do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, people looking for months ahead. It's just difficult for us.
Yeah. We made the point. Yeah. I mean, you're always going to get, if we refer back to a few videos ago when I was talking about trolling and people trying to attack our own house sale and stuff like that, and obviously that was a real negative time for us, and it's going to happen, and that's why the real importance is of really establishing trusted relationships, getting your own knowledge. Don't listen to a lot of what you read, all that sort of stuff, because it really, really exists out there, and it's a real shame for the buyers because they're not getting perhaps true information, and also for the sellers. It's really sad that people are getting attacked, really. And you're talking about, gosh, it's still, in the grand scheme of the world, you're talking about a country that's still cheap to live, cheap to buy. People aren't greedy, and everyone's just trying to better themselves. And this is going to be my final message note again about the world. Stop attacking people that are trying to better themselves. There's so many. Look at this guy. There's so many people out there, and so many corporations and stuff going on in the world that's bigger picture. And let's not attack our fellow man, the little man that's just trying to better their lives. And everyone deserves to, in this world, buy something, do what they can to it, and sell it on and make a profit, right? Whether you're talking about a billionaire with a pad in London or a lowly one-income family like ourselves, it doesn't matter. Everyone deserves to do that, and there's a lot of people out here that deserve to sell their properties. They've worked hard on them, or they've sat on them, and or whatever. It doesn't matter. But you're going to see a lot of people negatively, boring, sat at home, keyboard warriors, trying to put all that down. And really, ultimately, the price of a property out here is between the seller and the buyer. It is no one else's. No one else has the right to give an opinion on it. They don't know anything about, unless you are literally, I guess, maybe the next door neighbour, then I would say, all right, you've got an idea. But it is up to the seller what they put it up for because of how they feel it's valued, worth, and it's up to the buyer to decide what they are willing to pay for it because of how it makes them feel, right? And that's it, end of. I could not give a toot if matey boy in the village down the road sold something for half the price. Well, that's great, that was what they decided, etc, etc. I'm not talking about our property here, this is happening all over Facebook, and it's a real shame. So just use your brain with it.
The crazy thing is that if you come from the Western world and you're buying a second or third hand car, that might cost more than what people are purchasing a house over here for. And nobody gets into anyone else's business about buying a car. Yeah. Why do people find that it's their business because someone's purchasing a property? It really is beyond me. Or saying, it's so stupid as saying, oh, you overspent buying that steak. It's like, I don't care. I enjoyed it. Like, mind your business.
Yeah,
leave us alone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
just
so
have
crazy.
Just have your wits about you, and again, I'm labouring the point, but just it separates people with intelligence and emotional intelligence. you know, from really just, I mean, I think everyone should get off Facebook anyway, and I will do it, and it just sometimes it's useful, isn't it? Because we bought a really nice tap. We've bought a really nice tap off the marketplace, which we'll show in a future video. I'm really excited. It's coming today. Anyway.
Oh, is that what's coming today?
Yeah. That's my final message. I'll shut up now. And if you want to leave a comment on the YouTube as a troll, I'll just delete it. I'm not interested. Boring.